ಹಾ ಆರಾಮ. ನೀವ್ ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಭಾವನಾ ಅವ್ರೆ?
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಏನ್ ನಿಮ್ ಮಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದಾನ? ಮಗಳು
ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಇವಾಗ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮನೇಲೆ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ಎಲ್ಲರದ್ದು ಅದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್.
ಹೌದು.
ಇವು ನಿಮ್ ತಾಯಿ
ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ಎಲ್ಲ
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾಗ?
ಫುಲ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಇದೆ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಒಳ್ಳೇದು.
ನಾವು ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಲೈವ್ ಹೋಗಿದೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ವೈದ್ಯರು ನಿಮಗಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನುಪಮಾ ಹಾಗೂ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾವನಾ ಅವರನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾರೋಲಿನಾ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬಳಗದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಸದಸ್ಯರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಪರಿಚಯದಿಂದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸೋಣ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನುಪಮಾ ನೀಲಕಂಠ ಅವರು ಮೂಲತಃ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನವರು. 2004ರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೆರಿಕಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ ಇವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಜೆರ್ಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಸಿ ಮೇರಿಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಸಿಯನ್ನ ಮುಗಿಸಿದ್ರು. ನಂತರ ಇವರು ಮಿಚಿಗನ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷಿಯಸ್ ಡಿಸೀಸಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫೆಲೋಶಿಪ್ ನ ಮುಗಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಕಳೆದ 6 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ತಮ್ಮ ಪತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮಗನ ಶಾರ್ಲೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ವಿಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಲೆಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರು ನೇಚರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಮೂವಿ ನೋಡುವುದು ಹಾಗೂ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಜೊತೆ ಸಮಯ ಕಳೆಯುವುದು ಇವರ ಒಂದು ಹವ್ಯಾಸ. ಅನುಪಮಾ ಅವರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ.
ಇವರು ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾರ್ಲೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೋನಾ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದಿನ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾವನಾ ಅವರು. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾವನಾ ಅವರು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫೈಡ್ ಪೀಡಿಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎ ಡಿಪ್ಲೊಮೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅಮೆರಿಕನ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಡಿಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾವನಾ ಅವರು ಕೆನಪೋಲಿಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪೀಡಿಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಡೆಂಟಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. 15 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಅನುಭವ ಇದೆ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೇ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಭಾವನಾ ಅವರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತು ಅವರು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಭಾವನಾ ಅವರು ಶಾರ್ಲೆಟ್ಗೆ 2013ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ರು. ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆಂಟೈನ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅನುಜ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾನ್ವಿ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಡೆಂಟಲ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ಗಳು ಸಹ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಾರನ್ನು ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಿಭಾಯಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಡೆಂಟಲ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ಗಳು ಓಪನ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ನಾವ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಹೋಗೋದು ಸೇಫ್, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೂ ಹೆದರಿಕೆ ಇದೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಮುಂದುವರಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇವರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇವಾಗ ಅನುಪಮಾ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಓವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಇದು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಹೋಪ್ಫುಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್. ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಶನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಎನಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ದಟ್. ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಒಂದ್ಸಾರಿ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? Okay. So ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ again this is a very big topic, so ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ just main points cover ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So I think ಈ pandemic ಅಲ್ಲಿ corona virus ಅನ್ನೋದು we've had it from a long time. It causes common cold basically. You can see ಕೆಳಗಡೆ 4 different types are there, which is easily identified in our hospital tests. ಈಗ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ we have this novel coronavirus which is likely from an animal strain, and from there it has mutated and come to the general population, and so it has caused a pandemic. Usually the incubation period for this is around 2 to 14 days, and what that means is once you have been exposed to the disease, within 2 to 14 days you will get the disease. And again you can have any kind of symptom from common cold to severe respiratory infections like pneumonia and all of that. So here, again, this was first initially seen in Wuhan wet market, and bats and these anteaters like things are exposed to the disease. Within 2 to 14 days, you will get the disease. ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಎಕೋ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ?
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀರಾ?
Okay. So for now, across the world, over 2.8 million cases are there with over 200,000 deaths. USA only almost close to greater than 1 million ega, around 53,000 deaths. And North Carolina already more than 8,000 cases have been seen. And India, we've had around 25,000 cases with several cases in Karnataka. This is just an example of where we compare to for cases per 100,000 population. So in America, we've been doing a lot of tests. So we have the highest numbers across the world. But if you look at the amount of our population, we are not as bad as some other countries like Italy and Spain. Similarly, when you look at deaths per 100,000, you can see that our death rate is much lower compared to other countries which have very high death rates for the number of cases they've had. So it is a fairly good thing that we were able to contain the amount of deaths that we've had so far in USA. So again, how does this present for everyone? Usually you cannot make out any difference between any other respiratory viruses. There are a lot of respiratory viruses you must be familiar with, like influenza, adenovirus, metapneumovirus, and all of that. All of them present usually with fever or with other symptoms like runny nose, cough, cold, these kind of symptoms. There are some symptoms which are less unique to these viruses, but more seen in COVID-19, and that is loss of smell and taste. So which is unusual. So that might be the only presenting symptom where you don't have anything else other than you cannot smell or taste, or you feel a weird sensation in your mouth. You also can have some GI symptoms like diarrhea earlier on in the disease. And it can affect the eyes also and cause conjunctivitis. And patients who have COVID-19 have been seen to have an increased risk of stroke and cardiac complications. The R0, which is basically 1.4 to 4. And what that means is when one person gets infected, how many more people it can infect. So some diseases like measles, you must have heard of, where we get MMR vaccine and all of that. It's very infectious. Like if there is one person who's infected, it infects 90% of people around who are not immune to that disease. But this is not as effective as that. This is somewhere like only it will infect 2 more people if you are, but because the population is very immune, it has potential to spread. Again, 80% of patients, it causes mild disease and there's nothing you would need to do except for symptomatic treatment. You don't have to go to the hospital. You can treat yourself at home. Make sure you hydrate yourself really well. Make sure you drink adequate water, Tylenol, and use Tylenol as needed. And there is some studies saying that there is increased complications with Motrin and all of that, but that has not been proven. So if your fever does not come down by Tylenol, you can always go ahead and take Motrin. In another 15% of cases, it can cause severe disease where you can have pneumonia. And the last 5%, which is critical disease, where you most likely will be in the ICU and will need ventilator. And this is the population which has increased mortality and morbidity. Again, children are impacted not a lot. Usually only 2% of the population has been seen in children, but they are carriers. And now in United States, there have been more number of tests being done in children. And they have seen a few where data is coming out there that there could be more asymptomatic transmission in children. And some casualties in children have also been seen. So again, how does this spread? Pretty much by droplets from the mouth when you're talking, sneezing, coughing. Some of the droplets falls on surfaces, and when you touch that surface and touch your nose, then it can cause spread. Or when you're standing right in front of that person and you're sneezing directly, that droplets can come into your mucous membranes and it can cause disease. Again, most likely when household contacts who are in close contact with people who are sick, they are the highest risk. And especially if you don't have any protective equipment like your mask and all that, you are at a higher risk. There is some virus which has been detected in stool, but that's not really shown to cause disease by the fecal-oral route. That is mostly thought because of virus which is swallowed.
There is one.
Hello? Okay. So this is just showing how infectious this virus is. So again, this virus can be detected in the by PCR for a long period of time, up to 2-3 weeks. But it doesn't mean that they are infectious for that entire duration. When they've cultured this virus, small studies have shown that it can be positive up to 8 to 9 days. So what happens is when you get sick and you feel better in a day or two, you will still continue to shed the virus. So you would need to still isolate yourself for at least a week or 10 days until you completely become asymptomatic, because you don't want the virus to shed and spread it to other people in your house. Again, there's just some pearls about testing for COVID. It has changed a lot in the past 1 month in US. Testing is mainly for symptomatic patients who has this respiratory kind of symptoms. In patients, some testing has been done in like asymptomatic patients too. That is mainly in settings where hospitals, where there is clusters of patients that we are seeing. So to identify the asymptomatic people, there have been testing done in those instances. So the most commonly used test is the PCR-based test, which is basically, it has a high sensitivity. And what that means is when you have the disease, most likely the test will detect that it is positive. Occasionally it can be negative. So if your test is negative and you have symptoms similar to upper respiratory infection, your doctor will look at your whole picture and kind of decide if you will need repeat testing because the initial test may be false negative. You can also get the antigen-based test. Like this is like the flu test, which you go to the office and you get the results in 5 to 15 minutes. So those tests are also available, which is the advantage of those kind of tests, is that it's really quick to get your results. But the disadvantage is that it has low sensitivity. So that means around 15 to 20% of the time, even though you have the disease, it might show up as negative test. So that's the problem with that. And then again, viral culture is something which is only used for research purposes. And then you have serology. And what that is basically when you get the disease, you develop antibodies to it. So your body reacts and it produces something called IgM, which is the acute phase antibodies, and then IgG, which are antibodies which stays in your system for a long period of time, keeping your immunity. Now, how often this immunity lasts in a person with COVID-19 is yet to be determined. There's very few studies from China which has shown that some people get these antibodies fairly quickly. Some people don't really produce these antibodies, and we are not really sure why that happens. There are tests which are now approved by FDA for using on this serology, but then the cutoffs and what exactly means that the person is immune is still yet to be determined completely. So a few different ways of how the serology test is used is for cluster tracing in some countries, where they look at if there are a few people who are sick, and they want to know if their family members have been infected. They try to do blood testing and see if they have developed antibodies without having symptoms. Or when they want to know how much of the herd immunity, and what herd immunity means is to find out what percentage of your population is basically immune to the virus. And the reason why we want to know that is because when you develop good herd immunity, you protect people who are vulnerable, basically those who are elderly, very young children who have comorbid conditions like diabetes, heart disease, kidney issues, who can get the virus easily and cannot mount an immune response. And then potentially for healthcare workers, they could probably use, they could probably also, if they are immune, take care of these patients. And then the other thing is plasma therapy, which is basically taking these antibodies and transferring them into another patient to help fight the disease. So again, there are some reports of reinfection.
Can somebody mute mics, please? Kids are talking. Mangesh, Badgi, maybe?
Okay. Again, there have been some reports from China with question of reinfection. Now, I don't think it has been proven whether it is reinfection or relapse of previous infection. So all that is still being studied as we go through in this pandemic. So again, how do you treat COVID-19? So there is no treatment right now which is proven to be efficacious. Again, you don't need treatment for the most majority of people. It is self-limiting. You just need symptomatic therapy. And there are some medications which are used in the hospitalized patients, like chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, which is often used for malaria, and these other medications which I've put over here, which remdesivir, but most of them they have a lot of side effects and they have not been proven to be useful. So it needs to be used very carefully in clinical trials, or in only for those who have very severe disease, who are in the ICU and things like that. Convalescent serum. So any of the red blood banks over here, like Red Cross and all of One Blood and all of that, if you feel like you have already gotten COVID and you want to help somebody else, you can always go to this blood banks and ask them to see if you are eligible. So they'll check your antibody levels in your body, and they'll kind of see if you're eligible. They can help you get to a donor if you're interested in donating for somebody who's really sick. Again, the main way of the best thing is to prevent COVID-19. And again, how do you prevent it? Good respiratory etiquette. So whenever you have any cough, cold, making sure that you are isolating yourself, and you sneeze into your shoulder, not into or use tissues. Wash your hands frequently when you're in touch with any nasal secretions or your eyes and things like that, so that you break that chain of infection. And when you're outside, you would need to maintain social distancing of at least 6 feet from other people, and wear cloth masks outside so that your secretions are contained and you're not spreading it to anybody else. And if you're sick, not really going out. You can also, it will help in the house to clean all the high touch surfaces. So this is just some links on CDC website. They show a very easy link of how you can make your own cloth masks. So that link also, I put it in here just in case you are interested. So now in North Carolina, the peak disease was supposed to be in late April, early May, but now that has been pushed to almost early June. Why has it been pushed? That's because of all the social distancing that everybody is doing, which is good. It has worked. And so our peak has not been there, and our hospitals are not overwhelmed by it. So what does that mean? So and we might not even have a peak that we anticipated. So in a pandemic, we are currently in phase 5 to 6 of the pandemic. And what happens after that? What do you expect? So once, now you've heard in the news, all the government basically talking about reopening stuff and everything being going back to normal. So when that happens, number of people who are interacting with each other will increase, and then you most often will have a second curve of increase in your cases. So again, that is the post-peak level, and then and this sometimes you might have one phase, or sometimes you could have up to 2 to 3 phases of infections before it becomes an endemic state, like how seasonal influenza is for us right now. So what do you expect after all this social distancing? So what can you expect over the next few months? So what the White House, it has put out some plans. Basically, each state will have to look at their number. Each state actually has they do surveillance for influenza-like symptoms. So they look at their cases of influenza-like symptoms, they look at their cases of COVID-19, and then they do a lot of testing, and basically in a phased manner, they will open up stuff. So vulnerable population who are at higher risk, those patients should continue to stay at home and all that and avoid socializing. But other people, once they get back to work, again, encouraging telework. And even if you go back to work, they shouldn't be opening up like common cafeteria areas and things like that. Because even when you go back to work, you shouldn't be actually sitting next to other people within 6 feet. You would need to wear a mask when you go back to work. Schools and camps in this first phase will continue to be closed. Again, they have said that gyms and theaters can be maintained, can be opened, but some sort of social distancing, making sure you're not sick when you're going to these areas and things like that, they will need to look into. And again, for hospitals, elective surgeries also can resume. Again, so once they do all this, they will wait for around 15 days to a month. They will see what happens to your influenza-like symptoms, your case counts in your community, and then depending on whether your cases are going up, going down, they will make decisions on how much more they will have to relax rules going forward. So this is going to be a few weeks to months before this kind of monitoring goes on. So again, even in hospitals, like now currently everything has been closed where only emergency procedures and emergency things have been used. But many people have things which cannot be put off for a long period of time. So again, resuming surgeries have started will start shortly, and resuming care in clinics. Again, they will need to follow like social distancing in waiting rooms, completely move the sick to the sick and the patients, try to separate them as much as possible. Again, both Atrium Health and Novant in this area have virtual care visits. So it's really, if you can stay at home, if you don't have to visit them, make sure that you use virtual care to get an appointment and see what is needed. And also, again, wearing a mask in public areas is really important. So again, in the long term, there will vaccine be a solution? It will, but it will take a long time for vaccine trials to actually happen. There are for any vaccine to be developed, it takes around at least 4 phases, where the first phase is very small, like only 30 to 40 patients, where they look at safety and immune response. And then again, phase 2 trials are when they look at larger numbers at humans to see if it is efficacious or not, and also make sure that there is there's no major side effects. Phase 3 is actually, it involves hundreds of patients where you will need to look to see how effective your vaccine is before you put it out to general public. That is when the FDA and other governing agencies kind of approve these vaccines. And sometimes you have phase 4, which is post-surveillance, which is for which looks for rare side effects like Guillain-Barré syndrome and things like that. So again, there are many countries who are looking at different sorts of vaccines. There are a few in phase 1 and phase 2 trials, but none of them have been in phase 3 trials. So it is a minimum of 1 year until we actually get to something which is able to be produced in mass scale for the general public. And even once that comes out, it probably would they'll give it to the highest risk people before giving it to everybody. And the best bet is getting, by then, maybe we'll have herd immunity. And what that means is if a large percentage of the population is immune by then automatically it becomes something like seasonal influenza, where it peaks in some seasons and then gets better. So again, this is what you could expect over the next few days. And then maybe I'll stop over here and I'll let Bhavna speak for some time, and then probably we can take questions if that's okay.
All right. Thank you, Anu. That was a wonderful and very informative presentation. You covered basically most of what I wanted to say, but from the dental aspect, we are considered the highest risk. The drills we use, the suctions we use, the air syringes we use, cleaning ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ, fillings ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ, basically ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಲೆಟ್ ಇಂದ it spread ಆಗೋದು. So ಅದೇ aerosols ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ drill ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ it spreads lot of air and water together. So it stays in the air for about 2 to 3 hours. So that's why we are considered highest risk. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ we almost spent a month to brainstorm ಹೇಗೆ how to secure dentists ಮತ್ತೆ staffs, how to make it safe for patients. So like after 3 or 4 weeks, ADA has come up, they have set some guidelines. All the dentists across the nation, I would say around the world, they have come up with some very wonderful ideas. So ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋದಾಗ it may not look the same, it may not feel the same, but I must say I think you will be more safe because of all the precautions that we are taking, starting from the waiting room ಅಲ್ಲಿ you won't see, like you won't be asked to wait in the waiting room anymore. Carale idbittu, we'll just go to the car, give you the paperwork. Hage we're trying to separate and social distance ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ once you come back to the operatory ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, like we are taking the utmost care, like ಈ ಪ್ರತಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ we are taking like PPE ಆಗಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ HEPA filters ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, it's supposed to filter out the air, ಅದನ್ನ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ UV sterilizers ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಲೈಕ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಬೈ ಲೇಯರ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ, like we want to keep staff safe, patients safe, and we want to remain safe too. So ivaga I think I feel very comfortable opening up the practice after like 3 or 4 weeks of all these precautions, so guidelines ella madadmele I feel not I am not hesitant anymore. Like but only hiccup here is PP sigta illa. ಇವಾಗ ಫ್ರೀ ಅಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಚೈನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ, ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳಿಗೂ ಸಿಕ್ಬೋದು ಇವಾಗ. ಸೊ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆನೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಸಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ ಇವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇವಾಗ ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ we are not taking any chances. ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಳೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, I don't think any dentist in the country would like to expose themselves or would like to expose their patients. So we are on guard, like we are taking utmost precautions. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೇ ಹೆಸಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇದ್ರು I think it's better to open up. ನೀವು ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋದಾಗ, ಆಫೀಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋದಾಗ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಿ, what precautions are you taking? PPE ಇದೆಯಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ? ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನಿಮ್ PPE ಗೌನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, which we are required to do. So free ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. That way we don't get offended in any way. I'm glad that the patient is taking interest and they're trying to stay safe. ನಮ್ಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹಂಗೆ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೂ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಲೈಕ್ we can show them what we are doing, right? ನಾವೇನು ಹೇಳಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಏನು ಕೇಳಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it just goes unsaid. Even though we do it, I think if you approach us and ask us what we are doing, you will be more comfortable, you will be more confident in getting dental care. ನಾನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬರೀ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಪೀಡಿಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಡಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಡೆಂಟಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಪೀಡಿಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಫ್ಲೇರ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1 ತಿಂಗಳು ಸರಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಡೇ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಫ್ಲೇರ್ ಅಪ್. ಸೊ ನಾವು ತುಂಬಾ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ಪೋನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೂ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ ಡೆಂಟಲ್ ಕೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕಿಡ್ಸ್ ನ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವಾಗ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ರೆಡಿ ಟು ಗೋ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಇನ್ 2 to 3 weeks ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ PP ಎಲ್ಲ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಎಲ್ಲ I'm in a dental group. We all dentists are talking to each other. ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ we are brainstorming ideas. So ಎಲ್ಲರೂ we are in a safe place now. ಎಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 3 weeks ಅಲ್ಲಿ I think we should be good to go. Like Anu said, ಎಲ್ಲ precautions patients maintain ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ I think we can contain this problem very easily. Not very easily, I should take that back, but to a certain extent we can do it. It has to be both ways, from the patients also and from the dental office also, as far as dentistry is concerned. So ಇನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು questions ಇದೆಯಾ ಹೇಳಿ, I'll be more than happy to answer from as far as dentists go. But this is where we are now with all the dentists in the country. 3 weeks ಅಲ್ಲಿ we are more relaxed. ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಬರೀ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ಮೇಲೆ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ಸ್. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ಪೋನ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿನ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ಮೇಲೆ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಐ ಫೀಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಸೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಅ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಏನು ಹೆದರ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಥ್ರೂ ದಿಸ್. I think things will be back to normal. I know it's a lot of anxiety. ನನ್ಗೂನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಲೈಕ್ 2 weeks ago ನಾನು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ನಂಗೆ ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿನೇ ಬೇಡ, ನಾನು ವಾಲ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಬಟ್ ನೌ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್, I feel like I'm confident to go back. So I think ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 6 ತಿಂಗಳು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Kids will start coming back to dentists, and I'm sure they would love to come back. That's all I'm hoping for. Any questions idre heli, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay, from now on, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ question and answers ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಯಾರು ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಿರೋ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ.
If nobody's going, ನಾನು ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. You just said you have already prepared for the PPP, but that's for you guys. But the patients who are coming, they may not have all the PPP, like masks or anything. And especially in the pediatrics world, I heard that kids are normally that at risk, but your nurses and the people who clean, they're so close encounter and they're so close. How do you ensure that they are not asymptomatic? Means, do they have to be pre-tested every day, every other day? How often do they tested before they get into the cleaning phase?
That was a great question. Thank you for asking. So ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, we first, as soon as I go back to work, I'm going to assess ಶುರು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ, like, there's a little bit of questionnaire. ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, have you been sick in the past few days? That's like a routine questionnaire for patients and staff. ಆಮೇಲೆ temperature checks ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, like for the staff and myself too. Symptoms, ಏನಾದ್ರು active symptoms ಇದ್ರೆ, they are not allowed to work. So after taking all these steps, if I feel like, okay, this person is okay, andre, we let them come back to work. Work at ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ, we used to wear surgical mask, level 3 masks ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, like routine ಆಗಿ ಮುಂಚೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, 95 ಸಾಕೋಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲ KN95 ಸಾಕೋಬೇಕು. That is to protect, ಯಾವುದು ಪಾಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ. Those are very, impermeable masks. ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವಾಗ aerosols create ಆದ್ರೂ it kind of restricts. It's not 100%, but still it restricts transmitting. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ level 3 mask ಹಾಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ staff cleanings ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ. So ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ every patient ಗೆ we are asked to change the masks, the gloves, the gowns ಎಲ್ಲ. ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದ್ ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರಬ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ we would change it during lunch hour ಇಲ್ಲ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ. But now after every patient we are required to change it. So we are trying to cut back transmission in every way possible. ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, HEPA filters ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ರೂಮ್ಗೆ. So that kind of also circulates air and filters out whatever aerosols room ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, 3 hours ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. So that also kind of eliminates. So most of the steps ಇವಾಗ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, it's to prevent aerosols in the air. So kids bandaga, of course, our mask hakola necessity illa, because if they're getting any treatment done, the only thing who is at risk will be the staff or the dentist. And now ella protected adaga, I think the rate of transmission is cut down by a whole lot. Now kids gonna patients bandaga avrgunu first on screening ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. We want to make sure they don't have any active symptoms. So ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರಕ್ ಬಿಡೋದು. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಕಾಫ್ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ರಿಸ್ಕೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು.
No, you answered all of it. Thank you very much. But the question is about what happens with the person with is asymptomatic. Means the questions will be all no. How do you?
Right. We are just betting a hedge on our PPE. Now, we are trying to secure ourselves. So asymptomatic, there is no way to tell, what's getting transmitted. So we are trying, that's what the 3 layers of protection ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. That's to protect us, the staff, and myself.
And again, this holds good even for regular pediatrics, or when you go to the hospital. Again, to the same point, visitors are screened, patients are screened, will need to wear a mask, and providers are screened every day too with fever and ILI-like symptoms, and they also need to wear a mask. So for these, if you are an asymptomatic carrier, if you are wearing a mask, and the patient is wearing a mask and you are doing hand hygiene with hand sanitizer and all that, the risk of transmission becomes very, very less, because when you're asymptomatic, the amount you're transmitting is much lesser than what it is when you're sick. And so when both parties are wearing a mask and they're, it's really less. And again, to Bhavna's point, for them, because it is aerosolizing procedures, they have that additional N95s. And so even if they are asymptomatic, it's not transmitting to the kid because the N95 is containing all of it.
ಇನ್ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿದೆಯಾ?
Yeah, next question I will go. Okay. Actually, there was a Facebook video that was shared in the group. So they were saying like there are like three I forgot the exact term. Like they said like it's going to be A, B, C, and there were different versions of coronavirus that was being there reported in different places. So is it a fact? And also they said like it's mutating as well. So how well the tests will confirm that the people have coronavirus or not?
So there are a couple of different strains of coronavirus which is being seen in China, which has been reported in China. Our commercial labs detects both those strains. It doesn't differentiate between those strains. The current PCR tests which are available, they have a few genes which they kind of detect. So it detects both those tests. It cannot differentiate those strains, but it detects both those strains.
Thank you.
ಅನುಪಮ ಅವರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕೆಲವರು ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರ ಅಂತ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ.
Oh.
Yeah, Anupama, this is Shiva.
Oh, I see some questions here. Sorry. I didn't realize I was supposed to check that. So I think there was one question which says there are huge cases in USA. Is it related to more testing or late response or low immune system? So the reason for the huge cases in US is mainly because of increased amount of testing compared to other countries. Initially, I showed that graph which kind of showed how we compare to other countries when we take per 100,000 population. So definitely, I think we are testing a lot. I would say that it has definitely spread in the community, and that initial window of late response, like before when only China was affected and they were doing heavy screening for China and things like that, and when it spread to other countries, I feel like that was a window where where there was some delay in testing and things like that. But I think now our testing is up and running, and it's mainly because of increased testing that so many cases are there. And then I think the other question was, should we be worried that it will come back again? Yes, this virus is in the population, and as we know, when we start going back to work and doing stuff, there can be waves in pandemic, as I described. So it is to be expected that it will come back over the next few months. And again, during winter, when people are more indoors, respiratory viruses are more prevalent. Probably coronavirus surge will also occur. So we'll have to see once schools reopen how this virus behaves and what needs to happen. And I think one other question was cough with no fever, no shortness of breath that lasts for 2 weeks and was recovered after taking antibiotics. Could this be due to COVID-19, or could it be regular common cold as it was improved with antibiotics? So usually it's very difficult. Common cold antibiotics does not work for common cold. Common cold is most often due to viruses like rhinovirus, other types of coronavirus, other strains which is not COVID-19. and other kind of viruses which cause common cold. Sometimes when you have a super added bacterial infection, that's when antibiotics work. But in general, when you have a viral infection or when you have a cold, you should not be taking antibiotics because you're causing more damage to your GI tract. And the good bacteria is kind of going away and it's being colonized by bad bacteria, which causes more problems like diarrhea and another infection called C. difficile and things like that. So if you have, usually coronavirus, when you start, the first week is mild, you have like a dry cough and you may, or you could have a fever and things like that. Second week is when you tend to start getting worse and you have more shortness of breath and you can't breathe much and things like that. So you could have symptoms for 2 weeks. Now, if you become really ill, your symptoms can go on for almost like 4 to 5 weeks and you can get really sick and need to be on the ventilator and all that. So it's hard to say if you have not been tested, it's hard to say what it is.
Anupam, I have one question.
Yeah.
So the ratio which you're talking about, 80%, 15%, 5%. Is it like, you know, it comes at it's starting maybe 7-8 days, it is in the mild, then turns to severe, then it goes to critical, or it comes as a mild and ends as a mild? So I mean, I'm trying to understand that.
So for many people, it could come as a mild and it could go away as a mild and nothing happens. And you could just have symptoms for 4 to 5 days and you're fine after that. For most people, 80% of the time, that is what happens. So in that 15% of that time, it can start as a small runny nose, cough, cold kind of thing, but then it can progress to have pneumonia. And that last 5% of the time is when you start getting really short of breath and you cannot, and you have to, and it progresses and you need to be on the ventilator and in the ICU and things like that. And I think there was one question which says, when you say people with some specific underlying diseases like asthma and heart disease are more vulnerable to COVID, does history of pulmonary embolism with history of clots in the lung 4 years back be considered to be more vulnerable to this COVID-19? I don't think specifically there is data to show that people who have pulmonary embolism are more vulnerable. But what has been seen in this COVID-19 is that there is some sort of a hypercoagulable state. And what that means is you are at increased risk of thrombosis and blood clotting. And so you can have strokes from that and there is some blood clotting in the lungs. Now, if you've had a previous history of blood clots, are you more likely to get it? That has not been shown to be the case, or rather there is no data out there to prove or disprove that theory. So I would say it is similar to others. It's not specifically considered as a risk factor. And I think
Dr. Anu, can you talk a little bit about viral load?
Okay. So usually the virus starts shedding like 48 hours before you start showing symptoms for those who get symptomatic. For those who are not symptomatic, of course, you don't know when it will shed. And it typically is highest in the first week of disease is when it is peak. So 48 hours before to once you start your cough cold, the first 1 week, it has high viral loads. After that, in the second week, it starts going down. Now, if you are one of those people who have very severe disease and you tend to go on to be on the ventilator and things like that, those people have higher levels of viruses and they continue to have high levels for a few weeks later too. They've looked at viral shedding, and when you look at PCR, which basically detects just the cell component on that, but it cannot tell you if it is live virus or dead virus. And that can be detected in the nasal secretions for almost like 4 to 6 weeks. But it doesn't mean that the virus is always infectious in that time, because when they've looked at viral cultures, again, very small studies, the viral cultures have shown that it's positive for only up to 8-9 days. So the thought is that that first 8-9 days is when the most transmission occurs and when you're most infectious.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇದೆ, ಈಸ್ TB ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪಿಂಗ್ ದ ಇಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ? ವೈ ಅರೌಂಡ್ 3% ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ county are Asians?
So we don't know that there is a theory that BCG vaccine could be playing a protective factor, but there have not been any studies to prove or disprove that. I think as this pandemic progresses, because there's a lot of confounding things, like different countries have done different things, like in terms of their lockdown, in terms of, so it's hard to say whether that has played a role or there's some sort of innate immunity, like for the Asian population in India, or for all of us, like because of BCG vaccine, are we more protected? I don't think that has been proven, but that's one theory which is out there.
ಇನ್ನು 2 ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು, could you please tell us what is the first symptom and when to reach the primary care physician?
So you could have a variety of symptoms. As I said, sometimes just loss of smell or taste could be your only symptom. Otherwise, it could be like fever, cough, dry cough typically, cold, sore throat, headache, which is unusual for you, and body aches like you're getting the flu. Any of those can present as COVID. And occasionally you can have diarrhea when you're starting also.
Okay. Throat infection is related to COVID-19.
You can, it is one of the symptoms, but not everybody who has a throat infection has COVID-19, but it can present as one of the symptoms. Again, throat pain can be due to a variety of other reasons, like it could be like strep throat and influenza and all those other things, but then this also could be one of the symptoms for COVID-19.
One second. Exit. Okay, sorry about that. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನುಪಮಾ, we all visit grocery store. What minimum care we need to take care once we are back home?
So I think when you are in the grocery store, again, CDC recommends that everyone wear masks when you're in public places. It's best to wear something like cotton masks where at least 2 to 3 layers of cloth is present. When you're in the grocery stores, try to stay away, prevent overcrowding, and try to stay away from other people who are around in the grocery store. And when you get your groceries and you've touched all the parts and all of that, just hand sanitize when you come back and make sure that you wash your hands really well. And if you can disinfect and like cartons and things like that, which has been sitting out for a long, if you can wipe them down and then put it in your refrigerator, that can be done. Again, the transmission via fomites, which means like on something, sitting on something, like it doesn't stay outside for a long period of time. Like it's shown to sit on cardboard like 12 hours or so. It can sit on plastic for up to 3 days. So if you can wipe down stuff, wipe it down. But again, the main route of transmission is respiratory. So that is your highest bet of prevention by doing that.
Will drinking hot liquid like coffee, rasam kill the virus before it gets to throat?
That is all Ayurvedic. I don't think it has been proven or disproven, but things like turmeric, I think in our culture has been shown to be anti-infective. Now for COVID-19 specifically, it has not been proven or disproven. Again, there are general things which you can improve your immunity. Things like vitamin C has been helpful for other viruses which cause cold. We don't know if it helps for COVID-19, but I don't think it is wrong to take your multivitamin. Again, exercise helps with immunity in general, and eating a balanced diet and with lots of micronutrients with vegetables and things like that would also help. So that is just general things to build your immunity over the next few months.
Okay, last one question again. How long does it take for a virus to mutate? Will the vaccine work for the mutated virus too?
It depends on each type of virus. Again, there are some viruses like influenza which mutate very often in the community. coronavirus hasn't shown to be that much mutative compared to things like influenza, but it's hard to say what the time frame is, and by the time we have a vaccine, will it be useful or not? Usually, most often when it mutates in the population, it doesn't mutate to the extent the vaccine will be effective, at least partially. The only reason why now it has become a pandemic is because when it comes from an animal strain, so that type of strain is not there at all in any human population. So everybody is not immune to it. So it tends to spread easily in that instance. But when you already have some sort of immunity, and even if it mutates a little bit, it shouldn't be that drastic compared to when it comes from an animal strain. So I think the vaccine, the hope is that it would be efficacious.
ಏನಾದ್ರು questions ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿ.
I have one question, Dr.
From
Anupama.
which we just heard from your presentation.
Sorry.
ಯಾರು
Can you
ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ
repeat the
ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
question?
ಪ್ರತಿಭಾ ಕೇಳಿ.
Yeah, I have a question.
ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರತಿಭಾ?
Antibody test will tell if you are immune to COVID-19.
Harisha of the council. I heard she's asking the question.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ.
Doctor?
ನಿಮ್ದು ಎಕೋ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Okay. I will send in a chat.
Okay.
ಅವರು ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡೋವರೆಗೂ ನಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್.
Okay, type ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ.
How come antibacteria is not the solution for this virus? That's one. Number two, post-virus, I'm keep hearing a lot of amputations, blood clot symptoms, all young people going through that. What is the post-virus, what do you call it? Cleanliness, we call it, whatever you want to call it. Anything which we want to tell about the post-virus symptoms which are potentially dangerous or can be effective in the life?
Yes. So antibacterial means antibiotics is basically something which works against bacteria. Bacteria is a totally different class of, or like strep throat, that's a bacteria. So this does not act against viruses. So all these common viruses like flu, measles, mumps are all viruses, and antibacterials does not work for that. So with regards to your second question, for COVID-19 specifically, for those who have severe disease, again, there's a lot of complications which has been seen. Now, we know all this only for the past month or 2 months. So it's not like we have huge data, but it has, again, it's shown to have increased risk of blood clots. And because of that, you can have strokes. It has also shown to affect your, there is a ACE receptor in your lungs and your heart. So it has shown to directly affect your heart, and it can sometimes cause arrhythmias, which causes irregular beating of your heart. So there are some complications which can be serious from this COVID-19. So that's why they have kind of even said that medications like hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine, which you generally take for malaria, to not take it on a routine basis, because sometimes that can cause as a side effect QT prolongation of your heart. And so you don't want it to cause more issues than, because it's not proven therapy. So first principle being do no harm. So you don't want to take something which you don't know actually works when you know that it can cause harm.
Thank you.
ಅವರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನುಪಮ. Since you said antibody testing will tell whether we are immune to COVID. So does that mean people with the autoimmune condition who have antibodies already present will be prone more to this disease?
So people who have autoimmune disease and have increased antibodies, they in general, they are immunocompromised. And what that means is either their antibodies are not working very well, or that they take medications to help with their autoimmune disease, and often those cause their body to have some immune suppression because they're trying to reduce the amount of antibodies which has been produced. So anybody who is immune suppressed are at higher risk of getting this disease. So yes, they would be at higher risk to get this disease. So it's really important for them to stay at home, make sure that they don't acquire it, and when they have to go out, make sure that they wear a cloth mask and all of that.
I have a question. Is it okay to use a mask made from China?
What?
Is it okay to use a mask made from China?
Yes, it is okay to use a mask made from China because the virus gets killed when it's outside for a long period of time. So by the time it comes from China, it's fine to use it.
Thank you.
ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಏನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ಈ ತರ ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಗ್ರೋಸರಿ ತರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ವೇಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಬ್ರು ಬೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಸೋಡಾ ಹಾಕಿ ವಾಶ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದ ಮೆಥಡ್, ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೊತ್ತು ಹೊರಗೆ ಇಡ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಆತರ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ?
So virus basically ಹೊರಗಡೆ, it depends on the surface. So cardboard anta surfaces mele it usually stays for around 12 hours anta few studies helide. Again, other things like plastic and things like that, 3 days or more irbodu. So I think when you get groceries, just washing them with regular water and making sure adge maduvaga, like making sure you peel them appropriately, and cooking, really the heat actually kills all of it, so that should be fine. And when you're putting it in the refrigerator, because it can survive for longer times when you are when you're in the cold. So basically trying to wipe down your milk cartons and things like that before putting it in will help. But other than that, I don't think any other specific precautions need to be done.
Okay.
Any questions? ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಅನುಪಮ ಅವರೇ ಹಾಗೂ ಭಾವನಾ ಅವರೇ. ಇಂದು ನಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಐ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಹರ್. ಅವ್ರು ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ದೀಪಕ್ ಗುಂಡಾ ಅವರು. ಶಿ ಡಸ್ ದಿ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಶಾರ್ಲೆಟ್ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಕೇರ್. ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೇಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅವರಿಂದನೇ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅವರೇ, ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಯು.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ?
ಹಾ, ಕೇಳಿ.
ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾವನಾ, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
I would like to speak to Dr. Bhavana Jairam.
ಹೇಳಿ, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹೇಳಿ.
I would like to speak to Dr. Bhavana Jairam.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಹೇಳಿ.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? Doctor, for children, precautionary measures ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ during this period, what are the measures we can take for them?
ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಿಕಾಷನರಿ ಮೆಷರ್ಸ್, ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಲ್ವಾ ನೀವು? ಹಲೋ,
ಅವರು ಇನ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಸೇಫ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಮೆಜರ್ಸ್ ತಗೋಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ COVID-19 ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದರ ಯೂಶುವಲ್ ಮೆಜರ್ಸ್ ತಗೋತೀವಿ ಡೆಂಟಲ್ ಕೇರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಮೆಜರ್ಸ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕಾ COVID-19 ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ?
ಇವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಮೌತ್ ರಿನ್ಸಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯೂಶಲಿ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಪೆರಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೌತ್ ರಿನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಸೋಡಾ ಇಂದ ಮೌತ್ ರಿನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ವೈರಸ್ ಏನು ಲೋಡ್ ಏನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರೋದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇವನ್ ಇವಾಗ ಡೆಂಟಲ್ ಆಫೀಸಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ನಾವು ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೈರಸ್ ಬರೋದು ಲಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ. ಮೌತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋಡ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಮ್ಗೇನು ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಹರ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ರೆಕಮೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಬೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಸೋಡಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಪೆರಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಮೌತ್ ರಿನ್ಸಸ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಪೋವಿಡಾನ್ ಐಡಿನ್ ಮೌತ್ ರಿನ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಿಕಾಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಯಟ್ ಒಂದೇ ಹೇಳೋದು, ಓರಲ್ ಹೈಜೀನ್ ಹೇಳೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಇವಾಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಫ್ಲೇರ್ ಅಪ್ಸ್ ನ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದೇ ಮೌತ್ ರಿನ್ಸಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಂದ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅದು.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.
ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅವರೇ ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡಿ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ. ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇದು ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಒಂದ್ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಪಿಕಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ವಿ ವೆಂಟ್ ಟು CVS ಫಾರ್ಮಸಿ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಪಿಕಪ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿಮೇನ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಗ್ಲೌಸ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದೆ ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಲೇಡಿಗೆ. ಶಿ ಸೆಡ್ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೈ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್. ಅವತ್ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದು ಸೊ ಐ ಟ್ರೈಡ್ ಹೌ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಡೂ ಎಟ್ ಹೋಮ್. ಸೊ ನಾನ್ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ ಬ್ಲೌಸ್ ಪೀಸ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಐ ಟ್ರೈ ಕಟ್ ಇನ್ ಪೀಸಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಹಿಂಗೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಸ್ಟಿಚ್ ಮನೇಲಿ ಎಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಹಾಕಿ, ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಪಾಕೆಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ನೀಡೆಡ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ದ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್ ಇನ್ ಸೈಡ್. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೋಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಬಂತು. ದೆನ್ ಐ ಟ್ರೈಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಕುಡ್ ಬಿ ಡನ್. ಸೊ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೆ, ನಾನು ಆರ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಾಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ವೈರ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಐ ಟುಕ್ ಅ ಪೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವೈರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಎಡ್ಜಸ್ ಬೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ನೋಸಿಗೆ ಪೋಕ್ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಎಡ್ಜಸ್ ಬೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೊಲ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕು. ಇಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಮಂತ್ಸ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಆರ್ ಗೆಟ್ ರಿಓಪನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಸೇಫ್, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರೋಸರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ಗಾದ್ರೂ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ಗೆ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ವೈಲ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಗೋ. ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ ಸೀಸನ್. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ದೆ, ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ. ಅಸ್ತಮಾ ಇರೋರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲರ್ಜಿಸ್ ಇರೋರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೊರಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ದೆನ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದಂಗೆ. ಸೊ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ದೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇಂದ ರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್ ಬಂತು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ದೆ. ದೆನ್ ಅವಳು BCH ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಶಿ ಪ್ರಮೋಟೆಡ್, ಸರ್ ವೈ ಕಾಂಟ್ ವಿ ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಡಿಸ್ಪೋಸಬಲ್ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವಳು ಎಲ್ಲಾರು ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಜನರು ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದ್ರು. ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆನ್ April 1st. Till now we did like 5,000 to 7,000 of masks in different groups. So distribute ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. It's first started with BCS group ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಆ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಈಗ 1000 ಗಿಂತ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಗೆ, ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ, ಕಿಡ್ಸ್ ಗೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬಟ್ ಹೂ ಆರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನರ್ಸಸ್, who are donating food to the CMS students, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಫುಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇದನ್ನ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ BCH ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇಂದ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಗ್ರೂಪ್, ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಶಾರ್ಲೆಟ್, ಆ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇಂದಾನು ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಇದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕೆರೋಲಿನಾ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಸೇವಾ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಸೇವಾ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇಂದಾನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಆ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದು ಹೇಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ. ದೆನ್ ಐ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಎ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಶೇರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅದರಿಂದ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಾನು ಸೆವೆರಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಕಾಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂತು. ಸೊ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನನ್ನ ಅನುಭವ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. So this has different one pattern, pocket inside, so you can insert filter if needed for healthcare associates, or general ಆಗಿ ನೀವೇ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಗ್ರೋಸರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ you can put it, you can tie it, completely cover your mouth and nose and till the chin. So one layer of safety is not N95, but still it is a layer. Doctors are using for layering up on N95 if they are attending patients, so they can wash and reuse these ones. So there are different types. So ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ನಾನು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. if they want to make for themselves or they want to donate it for other organizations, make and donate it. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನುಪಮಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಭಾವನಾ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದಂಗೆ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೆಟರ್, ಪ್ರಿವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ದೆನ್ ಕ್ಯೂರ್. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಲೇಯರ್ ನಾವು ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಈಗ ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ತಿಂಗಳು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ನಾನು ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗೂ CKB ಅವರಿಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ರಜನಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜಯ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅವರೇ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಹೇಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಕೆಲವ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಹಂಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಆ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನ್ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕಾಸ್ ಗಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಾನ್ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದಂತ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸಾಮಗ್ರಿಗಳನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇನ್ ಕೆಲವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಆತರ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅವ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಅವರ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ. ನೀವು ಕೂಡ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವು ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇನ್ ಕೆಲವರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ನಾವು ಫುಡ್ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಆ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, CKB ಇಂದ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ. ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿಯ ತನಕ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಳಗದ ಮೆಂಬರು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಈ ತರ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ನ ಇನಿಶಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಆದಷ್ಟು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಈ ತರ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಐಡಿಯಾಗಳಿದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ತರ ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿ, ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ ತರಾನೇ ನಿಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಸೇರಿ ನಾನ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡೋರಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಹಂಗೆ ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, ನೀವು ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಬಳಗದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ.
ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವಿಷಯ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ ಕನ್ನಡ CKB ಇಂದ ಅನುಪಮಾ ಸಿಂದ್ಗಿ ಅವರು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು ಈ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸೌಮ್ಯಶ್ರೀ ಅವರು ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಮಾಧವಿ ಪಾಟೀಲ್ ಅವರು ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಷನ್ ಡ್ರಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಪಿಕಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಿಂಧು ಅಲ್ಲಂಪಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನಾನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಎಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೊತ್ತು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕಿವಿಗೆ ನೋವು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಿಂದೆ ಅವರು ಕ್ರೋಶೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಟನ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಹಿಂದ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಎಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಹರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ.
ಅಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟಿವ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಏರ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏರ್ ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, you can use that also as a mask. I know everybody brings the kit home from the international airlines, so if you use it for sleeping, you can use that as a mask as well. So we go 5 people in the airline and we found few of them and we've been using. They are pretty thick, so just FYI. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ತೆಗೆದು ನೋಡಿ. ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದೋಸ್ ಐ ಪ್ಯಾಚಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರು ಕಿಡ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪೋಸೇಬಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಪೇಪರ್ ಇಂದಾನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್, ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪೋಸೇಬಲ್. ಅದನ್ನ ಕಿಡ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಇವಳು ಮಾಡಿ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು ತುಂಬಾ ಹುಡುಗರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಂಟರಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಕೈಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರು ಹುಡುಗರು ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟಿಚ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹುಡುಗರು ಇದ್ರು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಸೆ ಇದೆ. ನಾಳೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂತ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬಂದ್ರು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಕೆಟ್ಟದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಕಲ್ತ್ರೆ ಯಾವಾಗಾದ್ರೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ತಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟ್ರೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದ್ರು, ಫೋನ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಕಾಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್, ಇದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಮೈ ವಿಡಿಯೋ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡೌಟ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಮೀ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ನೀಡಲ್ ಇದಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ನಾನು ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಹೊಲ್ದವಳಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ನನಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಿಚಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್. ಇದು ಒಂದು ತರ ಇದು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ಯಾಂಡಮಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ನನಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅವರೇ.
ಜೈ ಮತ್ ರಜನಿ, ವಿನೋದ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಇದಾರ ಲೈನ್ ಮೇಲೆ?
ವಿನೋದ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಏನೋ ಕಾಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ.
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ, ಮೇ ಬಿ ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅವರು 3D ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್ ಇಂದ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರು ಈಸ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದಟ್ PPR ಆರ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಅದನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ದು
ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನುಪಮ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅನುಪಮ?
Yeah, so through that 3D printer in the app, I think he's doing that adana.
Yeah, he
Tumba
mentioned it
ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು.
earlier about face shields from 3D printing.
Right, yeah. So Vinod that ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ದು ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಅವರು TI ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇದ್ರದ್ರ ಮೇಲಿಂದ we have come to know that. So I think that's an honorable mention also from our CKB.
ಅವರು 3D ಪ್ರಿಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೀಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಗೆ ಕವರ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಶೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅದು?
I think it's a PPR. Is it called as PCR or PPR? I'm not sure.
ಶೀಲ್ಡ್ ನ ಇವಾಗ ಕರೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ NC ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಟು ವಿನೋದ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಅಂಡ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅನುಪಮಾ, ಸಿಂಧು, ಸೌಮ್ಯಶ್ರೀ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಧವಿ ಪಾಟೀಲ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಜೈ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ನೇರ ಪ್ರಸಾರ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ವೀಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನುಪಮಾ ಹಾಗೂ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾವನಾ ಹಾಗೂ ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ದೀಪಕ್ ಗುಂಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾರೋಲಿನಾ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬಳಗದ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಅನಂತ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನುಪಮರನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಬಳಗಕ್ಕೆ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಮಂಜೇಶ್ ಹಾಗೂ ರಮೇಶ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿರಿ, ಸುರಕ್ಷಿತವಾಗಿರಿ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಅನುಪಮಾ ಅವರೇ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾವನಾ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸಲ್ಯೂಟ್.
ಆಗಿರಿ.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, bye Bhavna avare, Anupama avare. Thank you very much.